Hello and welcome. Right, we are going to do the cleanup, so I'm going to go straight into a time lapse. Did we do the animals yet? I can't remember. Let's have a look. I can't remember if I said I was going to do it last time. Oh, I didn't do the chickens once. Oh, they look fairly. Yeah, they're still green, so totally green, and they've always been on orange. But yeah, straw and everything's good, so it looks like they're happy. Right, so I'm going to go into a time lapse. Let's finish this last little bit of work off, and then we can crack on with doing the productions and going through the winter. Oh, that's what I was actually. That's the entire reason I came here, was to empty this out so that we can grab straw instead. And then obviously I forget this. Yes, right. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, really. Something I said on I'm trying to think of the name of the map. This is combined counters. Calmston, yes. On Calmston, I was on Calmston and did a couple of episodes. I've not done any for ages, and I felt a bit homesick from Calmston, so I went on Calmston and did a couple of episodes, and was saying really that itch. Apologies, it's chasing away my thoughts. Right, well, I shall regather my thoughts, and we shall continue this conversation, hopefully, when I've finished this bit of cleanup that we've got across quite a few fields. So yeah, I'm going to see my words. I'm going to see you guys and gals on the other side. I remember, yes, coming out the time lapse. Yeah, it was about manure. It's true that it's. I don't know whether it's a mod that I've got, which obviously is meaning the mod itself. It's not just having the mod that I've got, whatever it is. I've tried removing some of the. I've got a manure fixing mod that's supposed to fix the amount of manure that you get from your animals, because the Giant's way is obviously not really scientifically. It's based upon how much straw. This actually does it by your animals, but it never went wrong in the early days of having that, so I can't imagine it being there. But I mean, there's been a lot of things that go wrong in the actual game itself. It's often another mod and the base game, or a few different mods, fighting each other basically. So I'm not sure, but what I started to do was having the straw to manure mod, but we haven't needed it on this so far. It's doing that tick down thing, which that's a bit worrying. We saw that on Maypole, and we've got an awful lot of cows. There's no way that our cows on that should ever run out of manure. But it is weird. It's like having that. It's almost like it's sort of feeding off itself, because we've got 2 or 3 things that all say they've got the manure, but really none of them have. It's sort of staying in the thing, and it's not going where it should go. Although it seems to be doing a little bit of something, because you can see it in other places. But it's, yeah, basically what I have been doing is doing the straw to manure mod. We haven't done that so far here, but if it dries up, may well do that if we've got any straw left, because we've been yeah, it's annoying, because we all know it's one of those resources that in FS19 that I totally relied on, and in FS22 it has been anything but reliable. And often the businesses that, I mean, people could say, oh well, you only ever do the fertilizing business. Well, actually a lot of the time I can't do it very well because of this game glitch that's got to be honest, FS22 is a cracking game, but it has not, I don't think it's ever been fixed, and we are now about to go to FS25, so I'm hoping FS25 is a little bit, still a good game. On the whole, it has sort of worked, but it's nowhere near the game that FS19 was. That was not broken at all, like FS22 has been broken. Just speaking how I've personally seen it, because I really do think it's never been properly fixed. Yeah, nothing is insurmountable. Nothing is like so bad that you couldn't play the game, but they are like that, real head scratchers where you can't do anything for months. Manure didn't work properly. Quite a few different things didn't work properly, and then the one that I noticed, it's only little things. As I say, it's not that you can't manage to play the game or anything like that, but the lime went in boxes for a while. I thought it was me, and then one day it just magically went away, meaning it was a Giants issue because they'd done a silent update that actually finally fixed it. But what I mean is, these little fixes have been more abundant in FS22 than they ever were in FS19. And that's not really a good thing. No, I don't think Giants have got a handle on things. And of course they've earned far more money than ever before. Their team, I'd imagine, is quite good. So I don't know, I'm hoping they've got a lid on, because I'm quite sure their pre-sales on FS25 have been better than ever before. Yeah, and it's a lot of money. It's not like these pre-release versions where they're giving you this, that and the other. They're all fantastic, but they're not like 20 quid. I mean, I'm a content creator, so therefore I've already pre-ordered, and I'm sure a lot of people have, because it's your hobby or whatever, but it's still a lot of money. And are you hoping that this time you get a game that's properly finished? I mean, admittedly, it's the nature of this game is it's not quite as easy as that for this particular type of game really to be finished, because things keep getting added, which is both a credit, but it's a little bit like Microsoft. It would be nice if, like, you fixing something didn't break something else. But then again, it seems to be that that's the type of world we live in at the minute. Yeah, it's not right, but it's the norm. But it's not as good as it used to be. That's my point, really. I expected far more of FS19. It felt finished at the end. At the real end, it was a real polished piece of work. I mean, we all know, actually, that FS19 at the very beginning was an absolute disaster. There were all manner of things that were going wrong. And the content creators that were doing their best to sort of show, and it's weird, but those content creators never sort of went on about, oh, this is not right. I don't know if that's right or wrong. Perhaps it's am I moaning? I'm not. I don't really know. I'm moaning. I'm actually trying to bring to everyone's attention and sort of sum up about the game, that as much as it is a fantastic game, but this one didn't feel quite the same as the as FS19 did. I'm hoping FS25 is going to be better. And don't get me wrong, as I said, you've got to take the whole game in. There's been a lot of things that I think the Giants have done better, and I suppose that's the real focus should be on positive things, because you can't really change the bad, but you've got to admit they're there. That's my point. It's no good like pretending, oh yeah, it's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with this game at all. There are, but you can sort of put up with them. And it is a very, very good game. There's been a lot of improvements, and I think it's that really you've got to focus upon, is what I personally think. When you look at things like trees, I mean, the bane of workers, the fact that, I mean, for so many iterations of the farm sim, that workers and trees, they were trembling at passing a tree and would frequently freeze completely. Now I haven't seen much of that. I mean, they drive me crazy with this being blocked when they pass within 2 foot of something that's quite clearly not really in their way, or that a clever driver would like just push out the way slightly or go around. Yeah, it's still a bad idea that they stop completely. Although I suppose a runaway worker that was a little bit, I mean, the behaviour could be far worse, and that is true. It really could, yeah. They could like career into things, and I would imagine that's why Giants have decided that it's better for them to do what they do than, yeah, basically like be mad creatures that cause havoc. So I suppose, again, probably a conservative approach. Again, the drivers of the cars, the way they bang the brakes on when you're behind them and cause you to have an accident. Then they're almost like those insurance people who are looking to get money from you by deliberately putting their brakes on. It is that bad. It's so terrible. At least the honking went away. It did come back for a little bit. So I remember it was in the early days, and there had not been any honking, and then I was on Greenlands, and one day all of a sudden the driver honked at me, and I'm like, oh my life, I've not missed that. I even said it on the session. But they don't do it as bad as FS19. They were terrible for honking, really, really bad. It was yeah, I thought I'd get at least a trailer out of this. It's certainly not worth coming to do this. There's some of the fields, like the last one, that got some really, really bad windrows and a lot of corner things that were just too good or bad to like not do. When you consider we're trying to feed 2 BGAs with a lot of straw, it's yeah, it's got to be done. Right, anyway, let's get back into that time lapse. I've bent your ears enough yet. So overall, what I'm trying to say in summation is it's still a cracking game, but I think you've got to sort of also say there's still room for improvement. As a game buyer, a purveyor of the game, and as someone who's only seen 2 iterations, I do wish I'd have found it sooner, but it was not to be. You cannot turn the clock back. It's FS19 was better, but it's more stable. The features of FS22 though, yeah, they beat FS19 hands down. So that's what I'm trying to say. You've got to like take it the whole picture. The improvements with logging, they are a lot better. The stability of the game, precision farming, I personally love that. I don't not play without it. It's a feature. Seasons, again, I never play without it. I've got to try to be as... I almost went back onto Holes of Life, but I ripped Terra Life off. It was too limited. I tried to go on Cavalier. I thought of all of the Terra Life maps, it's one that I could get into, and I was going to try and take the XMLs out of my original start from scratch Cavalier. And then of course the game crashed, and I thought, oh, I can't be doing with this, taking 9 million mods out because it doesn't like this. And there's no writing on the mod hub that you need to go to this link and remove all these mods because they don't actually play nicely with it. And I thought, well, if you're gonna like push something as finished, you can't have it where it crashed. It literally destroyed the Giants engine. It literally it crashed and burned to the extent that the engine stopped. And I thought, no, I can't have that. I was in the log file at the time, and I thought, oh, okay, so the game's actually crashed. That's how bad it is. And I thought, do you know, I can't be bothered to fight this piece of if it's not finished to the point where it's or there's no documentation, or I need to go on some obscure website to find out the information, then I can't be bothered. If you can't present a finished mod to the point where you either tell me what I need to remove in your documentation about how good it is, which to me, a mod that crash, or a set of mods that crash the game like that, that's not good. That's not finished. It's not acceptable. No other mod would get away with that, and it's got some big names behind it, but I'm sorry. As big as you are, it's not finished. It can't be presented like that to people, and you can't expect us all to go through our mods and remove the mods until it actually works. It's crazy. Yeah, nobody else will get away with it. Yeah, and I mean, I've got to be honest, it is one of those features that I always have scratched my head and thought, do I really? Is it going to add any much more? It's a very complex mod, and I'm like, well, what am I gaining? But yeah, the reality that it's much more similar to real life, but it's a little bit like a couple of sessions ago when I was on about DD My Passion and the proper. He's done proper. We don't need that field. Yeah, seeds. We all know that seeds don't. You know, you can't have a magic seed. That this is almost like super. That you've got a seed that will become everything. It's a thing of dreams, really, and we all know that. Nobody. I don't even think twice about that fact that is quite magical in itself. But seeds are magical, that they can become, and of course, I think is DD My Passion. He's right. Really, it shouldn't be like that. But I think for some things, it's like I used to play some role-playing games, and some of them started to introduce the fact that you needed food, and you could actually die in the game if you didn't get your food. And I was like thinking, you know, before that someone thought it was clever to bring in food as a necessary component, I actually enjoyed this game. I'm not sure that this extra component that brings stress into is actually the sort of game that I want to play. I actually stopped playing some of those types of games because it was just a step too far, and that's what I'm saying. We play games as a hobby, a form of enjoyment, but if you make that a little bit too I'll give you an exact example. I used to be a real firm player of Frontier, the space game. The original one was brilliant, absolutely amazing, very balanced. Graphics were passable. And then they souped the game up. The graphics were much, much better. Oh my life. I kept dying. I'd start the game, I'd like roll the ship up that I wanted at the start that you get, and all I would see was the rest in peace about 30 seconds into the game as an Asp Explorer, a giant ship with a super laser, attacked me, and all I saw was this blue laser coming towards me, and I was dead. And I'm like, and it happened. I think the first time I tried to persevere, I must have died about 10 times. And that first time, I put the game down after 10 times of dying and thought, this is not the game it used to be. And I'd sort of tried it again. I really did. I went back a few days later and thought, this is a game that I really loved. And I picked it up again, and I died 2 or 3 times, and this time I put it down and never went back. But when you consider what moron, and I will give them that title, thought it was a good idea to ruin such a fantastic game. I mean, they didn't give another go, and apparently that is still one of the most slated games, the Frontier Developments one, where the players were still like saying, well, it's not. It's a bit. Yeah, there was real bad things on Steam, and for people to like vent like that basically meant that the game developers weren't listening. They didn't listen. Exactly. I've played a few games like that. The original Star Wars game, massive fan of Star Wars, hence the Star Wars names. Probably one of my favourite all-time. Franchises really. I love Star Trek too. I'm a Trekkie as well. Love science fiction really, I suppose you could say. Some of it's a right load of rubbish. But in both Star Trek, in all its, I've never seen a Star Trek that I don't like yet. In all of them, the Janeways, I thought that was a cracking series. Voyager. Some of them are a little bit bizarre. Yeah, I do like the one with Scott Bakula. The one that's set not too far in the future, but then they start to travel in time and do all manner of weird things. I think that one was pulled early because it was a bit. Yeah, I think they may have lost their direction a little bit on that one, but I still enjoyed it. I've got to be honest. It was a shame when it was pulled early. Never done that before. Yeah, I think I've liked every single one. So I am a massive fan of that particular type of thing. But what I'm saying is, when I look back at some of the really dumb things, and it is true, a lot of the time there's an awful lot of arrogance in that type of game developer where they think that they can get away with whatever they like. That's a lot of them have been proved that that's absolute rubbish. That people will only put up with so much, no matter how good a game was. It's how good it is that is important. No matter, and it is true that Frontier, the second game, it was a really good game, but there was no balance, and you had no options. You couldn't like knock it down so that you didn't face that aspect explorer, because it was always there in the universe somewhere, ready to kill you. Its laser was so powerful, it only had to glance and touch your body, and your ship would be dead. Yeah, it really was that powerful. So it was just demoralizing, and that's not what entertainment should be like. And that's what I'm saying, that it's a fine balance between a successful game and a disaster. And as Star Wars emphasized, it was one of the most popular games of its time, the original, and within days, the company, with their arrogance and their terrible CU, as they called it, was one of the most worst ideas. They turned a successful game into an absolute disaster, and that really is arrogance at the highest count. But of course, companies do this all the time. So I'm hoping, really do hoping, that FS25 is. Okay, it looks good. I've got to be honest. The Giants have never made any silly mistakes to that extent, where they have really, done something so terrible. And that is the nature of games to me, as I'm sort of saying, really, where things are not always to your liking. It's very difficult, I think, when you come from a series of games like FS that it's hard to follow in your own success, because all of us like our own little bits. But I mean, I'm an avid enough gamer that over the years I'm fully aware that the features I might love in FS22, like the sails, is one of those. I really have enjoyed the sails. There's absolutely no guarantee that the sails are going to be in FS25. I know this. It might not be there anymore. If it's not, actually, hopefully someone or myself is going to make a mod that becomes a second-hand equipment mod, because without the sails, there's got to be something like that. It's missing in the game, really. So I'm hoping the sails are there, but if they're not, I'm not going to like down tools and like think, oh, that's the end of. Because I mean, I didn't have it in FS19. And I managed to play quite nicely without it. So, yeah, all of these features that we love, they're not guaranteed to be in the next game, are they really? Right, I think there's a bit of cleanup in that original field. I left some real dinger windrows like this, the corner swishers on that field. So we will do those as well. But I think I've bent your ears for long enough. I think I've made my points. I hope you don't see this as moaning. I'm trying to be objective, not sort of like moaning, because moaning is a bit negative. Whereas this is sort of like a summation of all of the good and the bad. I mean, I suppose you could go on and on and on about the mods that it's a quite frequent one actually. A lot of the content creators do my favourite mods, the top 10 and the top 20 and the things I've liked about FS22 and all that type of stuff. I suppose that's my version, and that's the thing, I often include them in the series that I do rather than doing them separately, which perhaps I should not combine. I should take a page out of the book of some of the other content creators, really, rather than include it as little tiny bits inside. But yeah, but it is true. I've got to up my game. My numbers, although obviously a lot of people do watch the videos, I personally feel that the numbers represent the fact that people are saying, well, they're alright, your videos, but I think there's room for improvement. So really, that really means to me that my idea of sort of doing everything as a time lapse is not to people's liking, even if it's transparent, even if, again, this is what I'm sort of saying, that as a content creator, you can be exactly the same as those. I mean, I'm sort of staying true to myself and to what I believe. But then if nobody wants to watch that, then people are saying, well, we don't particularly agree with you because it's boring, or, you know, this is what I'm trying to say. I'm not, as a content creator, really, it's your job. Or the other thing is as well, I mean, because I do often go through this and think, well, is it time to put the hat down? And Marty keeps on saying, no, your content's good. You are, I mean, I always look at it this way. I have like 769, I think it was. It does go up down a little bit, which always to me means, well, I've lost a few subscribers, which means, I mean, you always get, I think, subscribers that come and go anyway. They just were watching one thing, and something about your content doesn't agree with them, so they were never really what I call a proper subscriber. We're not doing the cornfield though, because those little windrows are very, very tiny. Even though they look terrible, they're really not thick. Or yeah, so this is the last field, so we may as well not time lapse now. We are pretty much sort of done, haven't I, really? Yes, I do sometimes wonder, but then I look at the subscribers and I look at those videos, at least even in the first week, have got like 40 odd views. Now I know via big channels think that 40 viewers per video is like pathetic, but then I'm not a big channel. I haven't got 232,000 subscribers. I have 767, so I've got to put it in perspective and think, well, to me it's worth it. If I only get 5 viewers on a video, at that point I think you've got to like think, those people are very faithful, and it's cracking that those 5. But like at that point, you like think, well, yeah, there's a bit of crop that I didn't clean up on the soy, so it's still live. But yeah, we'll try and pretend that we didn't see that, because all of the harvests are way, way the other side of the farm, so. And it's as I've always said with these little wisps on the edge of the field, it's a few litres, it really is. Don't get me wrong, I don't like doing it. That's why I'm trying to get defensive and sort of say, oh, because I do recognise I would have liked to have done it, but it is, like I said, even if you're on the other side of the field, it's bad enough that you're wasting fuel for these few litres, but having to come across the entire whole of the farm to get these few litres, and even especially with soy, it's not exactly one of those crops that you're going to do well off anyway. So it's not. I still feel that I should have done it. So, but what I mean is, it's a few litres, and sometimes, as I said a couple of sessions ago, you've got to draw the line somewhere. And I should have done the cleanup at the time, but again, you've got to like look at the entire. We were really busy. We were doing lots of fields. I think we were juggling 3 things on that session. I think it was potatoes, corn, and this. So, yeah, nearly done, I think. I don't think these are just little tiny bits. They are fantastic. Well, it was definitely worth doing, though. I feel that I was completely right about doing this job, because we got 120 plus 73. I think 200 tons of straw was worth coming out for, really, and that, I suppose, is what you've got to look at. If you come out and you came back with 20, yeah, it's true. If you was a smaller farm and you came back and you did 20, I often see about a field, and it is true, when I went to hard economy the first time on Thornton Farm, I'd never done hard economy on FS22 up until that point. It was a real shocker. I'd always thought to myself, why does Mr. Silly P do the edge of his fields like he does do? And then Thornton, the penny dropped. On hard economy, you really need to pull out all the stops, because it is darn tough. It really is. So yes, I did totally. There's a right big divot here. I'd get the earth movers in, and if we were going to stay, but it didn't stop the harvester. There's not one little tiny bit in the bottom, just by the little divot, and that's it. I think that's us done. So 194 tons. That's it. Let's get you on the way out. Going to be as thorough as we can be. Fantastic. So there we are, all our harvest, all of our straw, apart from the little tiny wisps in the cornfield, which were just the turning circles, yeah, that the baler didn't get. I even ejected the last bale out of the baler, and we've cleaned up all the straw everywhere. Yes, oh, no, we did that first. Yeah, I also do apologise, I had 3 little snippets of bits and bobs. One was about the best way, the other one was to give you a laugh, because I'd put 2 headers on the edge of the fields and I'd made such a song and dance about the best way, and really I'd already thought about it. I'd already got the header at the bottom of the field from the soy field, so I hadn't forgotten at all. I did this when I started the engines up. This was nearly out of fuel. Is it still? No, it's drained. Let's def it. Let's drop that for a minute. I've got his lights on. Yes, I thought it's not nice to leave this without any doubt. We've got enough fuel over this. We didn't do any proper fuel tanks at the end. I'm going to say we did put quite a lot in there. We didn't skim because we could afford to. It is amazing though how you think, oh yeah, I'm definitely alright on this Let's Play. I've got like 5 million. I soon run out of money. You know, like when you think, right, and that's what I'm saying. One thing that start from scratch does teach you is a little bit of, you can seriously spend your cash so easily that it's not a good idea to. Fantastic. Yeah, to think lavishly, because you'll soon run out of cash. Really did teach me that. Right, let's get this in. And then well, to be honest, I think we're alright with the animals at Gort. I think we'll go through till November morning. And I think we're going to do the next session. We're going to go through the productions and go through the winter. So I don't think I'm even going to we're just going to down tools and pick them up next time. Oh, no, was that one I wanted to actually put away? I did want to be folded still. Right, so then, no room will be in at that one. Could leave this. I don't mind leaving one trailer here usually. Ooh, we're only on crushing the eggs. Let's drop you there. Just put you back where you were before. Yeah, I do love this, really do. It is true. You've got to keep me away from this because, but again, it's good, but it's also bad in so much as you can't use it with a worker. That's a shame because it does mean that you've got to do it. I don't mind the work involved in it, but it's limiting. Whereas obviously there are other ones similar, but the Pepe, although the Pepe's it's a black hole of Calcutta, so it will destroy tons and tons and tons without even blinking an eye. So that's not necessarily a good idea. So I'm going to leave it here, I think. What are we down to in this? About the same as we left before. And it's no longer going down. Oh, it is. It is slowly going down in real time. So I'm not sure about that. I think we're going to get rid of the distributor. I do, because it seems to be fighting with the others. So yeah, 11 sold products. So I would say that answers the question that really wasn't doing a lot. Just looking. Yeah, it does seem to have stopped its tick down. Like it was like this was fighting with that and that, and yet as we saw, it didn't have a lot in it. So this is saying it's got 100 tons of manure in it though, and there's only 95 in there. So it does make you wonder: is there really 100 tons in there? Because yeah, it's true. Right, anyway, yeah, all that remains to be said for this particular session is we will get on with that's why I don't want to speed up. We'll finish the animals. There's, I think, a bit more for the cows to do, and then we're going to go through the productions, because we have got to sort the Cavalier Roy out, whether that means manually running stuff around or sticking it in the, well, no, that's why we've chosen these. So that we could literally do things properly, doing things the production way. So yes, hope you join me on next session where we will go through that, and we're going to go through until we've done everything with our productions, until the grass is exhausted and that type of stuff. So we're sort of calling it that we've finished our harvest, and now we need to see how well we've done on the farm from all that we did this year, the culmination of the 2 years we've been here. Let's just check that. I think, it is 2 years, although it really means we've only been a full year here. We just had the harvest, a lot of harvest to do from the original farmer's work, but we still did 2 harvests. So yeah, all that remains to be said is thank you very much for watching. Truly do hope you're going to stick with me on this journey, and I'm going to say goodbye for now.